In section 6.2, number 8, we're going to sketch the graph of the function by making a table of values. So our function is 2 times the base of 1/4 raised to a power of x, where x are the following numbers going from -2 to +2. So before we start here, we're going to go ahead and then figure out those table of values. So when x is -2, we're going to plug it into the function. So we have 2 times the base of 1/4 raised to the -2 power. Now, if we want to make that -2 a positive exponent, then we take the reciprocal of what's inside. So now it's going to be 4. So 4 squared is 16 times 2 gives you the value of 32. So we get our answer of 32. Next, we're going to plug in -1 in for the value of x. So 2 times the base of 1/4 raised to -1. So we're going to take the reciprocal to make it a positive exponent. So now 2 times 4 is going to give us 8. So now we know that the input is -1 and the output is +8. Next, we're going to put in 0 into our function. So we have 2 with the times the base of 1/4 raised to a power of 0. So anything to the power of 0 is going to be 1. So now we have 2 times 1, which gives us 2. So therefore our output is 2. Next, we're going to plug in 1. So we have 2 times the base of 1/4 raised to a power of 1. So that's 2 times 1/4, and when we reduce that, we get 1/2. So the output is 1/2. And then the last one, we're going to put in the exponent of 2 in for x. So we have 2 times the base of 1/4 to the second power, which is the same thing as 2 times 1/16, which reduces to 1/8. So now we've created our table of values. Okay, now that we've created our table of values, then we can go ahead and pick 3 of those points and plot them on the graph. So I'm going to pick those 3 points. So if you notice here that we have -1, 8. So there is our point there. We have 0, 2. And then we have 1 and then 1/2. And then you can see that the blue graph then represents our graph. So if we want to be able to answer questions a little further, okay, we're going to go ahead and then follow the instructions here. It says for any factor a which is greater than 0, the function f of x which is equal to a times b to the x. It says it's going to be stretched vertically by a factor if a, or the absolute value of a, is greater than 1. It is compressed vertically by a factor of a if the absolute value of a is less than 1. And it has a y-intercept at 0a. And if you notice, it does have a y-intercept at 0a because the value of a is 2. And then it's going to have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0, and a range of 0 to infinity, and a domain of -infinity to +infinity. And then the graph that's right next to the graph that we have graphed here is the parent function, so we can just see what that looks like compared to the graph that we just graphed, which is the h of x, which is equal to 2 times 1/4 the power of x.